Oh, we're back. Just kidding. All right. So I'm on section 2, production design in the book. I'm just going straight from this book right here, right now, just so we can get a grip on the production process. Last one I talked about was visualization. I'm talking about production design now. So whether or not the director is giving us a book or done his visualization work, the visual plan is the responsibility of the production designer and his staff. Quote, this organization of creative forces is necessary whenever storytellers hope to control the time and setting of a picture, even when the subjects are simple events set in the present. So the production designer designs the vision that the director has in his head. Regardless if the director has done his work or not, that's the job of the production designer. What do they mean by time and space? Time and setting. Time would be like say I'm shooting a period piece, a futuristic piece that's set 200 years in the future. Boom. So now the production designer has to make this room or whatever look like it's 200 years in the future. You know, maybe this laptop wouldn't be a laptop like this. It might just be a glowing hologram. And the index cards might be moving. Well, that's the production designer's job to design all that. Look. Okay, so why do we need this? Why is this important? This helps. A long time ago, they used to shoot in sequence, like the sequence that a story would happen. Then later on, as the production became more of a industry, they found out that sometimes it's more beneficial to shoot out of sequence. So, like say for example, using these index cards as examples, right? Let's say these are 1, 2, 3 scenes right here. 1, 2, 3. First scene, second scene, third scene. And it happens in this sequential order in the film. Well, I can shoot this scene first, this scene second, this scene third, right? Or I can shoot the last scene first, go back, shoot this scene second, and this scene third. Well, why would we want to do something like that? Why would we want to shoot out a sequence? When would that benefit us? Okay, so let's say, for example, we have a movie that takes place in just 3 different places, 3 different sets. No, simple. 2 sets, 2 locations. This room and Grand Central Park, downtown LA. All right. But the movie starts here and in the script. The movie starts here in the room. Then the protagonist goes to Grand Central Park, LA. Something happens there. And then it comes back here and then it ends here. Okay. So we have 2 different locations. Here, Grand Central Park. Every time a production has to shut down and move, costs time and money. You have to like pick up the camera, all the gear. Everybody has to move. Craft services. Everyone has to pack up and go somewhere. That at least takes a day, half a day to a day, depending on the size of the crew. If it's a small skeleton crew, you can do it in minutes. But the larger the production, the larger the crew is, right? Imagine, because you can have a production where there are literally, hundreds of people on that crew, the cast. So are you going to move all those people to one location, set up, shoot, shut down, then move back to the other location, set up, shoot? No. What you do is you shoot the beginning at one location, shoot everything that happens on that location. Everything that happens at that location at the same time. Right? I don't care what sequence it happens. It could be the ending of the film. It could be the beginning and the ending. It could be the beginning, the middle, and the end. I don't care. Everything at that one location you shoot at one time. Then you move, and then you shoot everything at that second location. Beginning, middle, end. at a second time. That way, you're not having multiple moves back and forth, that might be called for in the script. That's called shooting out a sequence. It's a very, very common practice in Hollywood. Most of the movies that are shot out of sequence. And it's simply because it saves time, saves money. Now, in order to do that, you have to have a very good, firm grip on the production design, because you have to know what artifacts change in the background or the foreground. Is there a costume change? You know, you can't have, like, say, for example, if I'm the protagonist here, and we're shooting it out of sequence. I'm here, and then in the next scene, we go to Central Park, and I get stabbed, right? And then I'm back at the home again, and I don't have the markings of the blood from the stab wound. People are going to notice that. They're going to be like, hey, where's the blood from? He just got stabbed at the park. Now he's at home, and there's no stab wound. There's no blood. He's just, you know. So you have to take note of things like that. Continuity. That's what it's called. Continuity. The practice of shooting scenes out of sequence became commonplace, and craftspeople might work on several movies simultaneously, making props, sets, or costumes in newly built studios and Universal Studios, blah, blah, blah. Following the 19th century, principles of mass production jobs became specialized, and departments were established for each phase of production, including script writing, set construction, properties, costumes, cinematographies, and editing. So as the film became an industry, this isn't a film history class, but as a film became an industry, there's those shops were specializing in individual film crafts started to emerge. But they needed to know what was going on in the entire film, not just one section of the film. And the only way to do that was for the production designer to give them notes. And those notes came from the director's vision. Does that make sense? Hope it does. Okay. Now we're going to look at the concept of production illustration. This is part of the art department. A production designer will try to work with people he has worked with well in the past, and producer usually permits him to assemble his own team, lending at least some continuity to working relationships. Including the team are the key positions of art director, prop stylist, draftsman, production illustrator, and costume designer. Each member of the art department contributes illustrations that fall into 3 categories. So we have the production design, okay? We have the members of the production, which include, not limited to, they include art director, prop stylist, draftsman, production illustrator, costume designer. Each of them provide sketches, okay? They provide concept art. The final design illustration, these are used to describe, the concept and final design illustrations. These are one type of things that are provided. These are used to describe individual elements for a production, including sets, props, costumes, makeup, special effects. These are individualized illustrations intended to establish a style, a visual direction, and do not necessarily depict a shot or sequence in the film. Okay? So a concept is just an idea of what something might look like, a prop. Like you can Google concept illustration or concept art, and they may not necessarily be a specific scene from a movie, but it's an idea, concept that was created based off of the information that the director gave them in his head, right, for a movie. They may or may not use it. I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, put your questions down in the comments, in the discussion. Plans is the next thing. Plans, elevations, and projections. These are highly technical descriptions that give exact specifications needed to manufacture or fabricate whatever is depicted more evocatively in the design illustration. So, and we have a picture of them here. Let me show you. Here we go. plans, plans. That's a plan. This is the section. This is the elevation. Okay. So let's say we have a scene with an elaborate banquet, and I'm using Game of Thrones now. All right. Hopefully you guys seen it, but we have to have we're shooting the red, what is it? The blood marriage scene where it was the marriage and it went all bloody and everybody got killed. So we have this huge banquet. That room has to be designed that can accommodate a banquet of warmongers, whatever they were. All right? Glad knights and whatnot. Someone has to design that room, and someone has to design the props that go with it to make it look specific to that time period. So they would use an elevation, a plan, or a section, or a combination of all three to give us an idea of what this room is going to look like, how is it going to function, how are the characters going to move around within it, okay? That's very important. Also, how are they going to build it? How are they going to construct it? Sorry. A plan is the top view of an object. A section usually refers to the profile view, and elevations are the front and side view of an object. So we have a plan, a section, view, and elevation. And appearing on page 18, there are two projection sketches. They actually give us sketches of them. Some production sketches in the book to look at for plans, elevations, and sections. Another thing are models. They will build models for a film. Excuse me, let me get a sip of this coffee here. They will also build models, scaled down to size. In the book, another model, models are used to visualize the three-dimensional space that the camera records rather than the two-dimensional space that the audience will see on the screen. Get that? A model is a three-dimensional object. You can actually pick up a model and rotate it in a three-dimensional space. So that model shows the three-dimensionality of it and how a camera will pick it up, as opposed to someone drawing it flat on a piece of paper, a concept art. Continuity sketches and storyboards. Storyboards, and storyboard. I am a firm believer in storyboards. Unless you're shooting a documentary, you're going to have storyboards. And I say that because a documentary is the kind of thing that a lot of times gets shot on the run. It's called run and gun, run and shoot. Meaning you don't have time to set up a shot. You don't have time to compose the shot. You're just shooting with what you have. That's the documentary style of doing it. But for narrative, we have to hit certain markers in the script, and everything tied to that script has to be tied to something visually that we're going to see, so that every moment that we're in that theater as an audience, we are consuming visually and audio, we are consuming the narrative. So all of those aspects have to be designed. Okay? So one way of doing it is, our method of doing it is through the storyboards. And okay, the myth, I'm reading directly from the book on page 20, the top. The myth that movies are made up by directors on the set frequently begins with the director and is perpetuated by critics. reviewers, films, historians, and publicity departments of distribution companies. What does that mean? That the director is making it up on the set. That means that was that example I gave you earlier before, where I said the director gets there and they ask him what's the shot, and like, well, we'll shoot it, and he'll do this. Oh, we're going to shoot it like this way. No, we're going to shoot it over here this way. No, we're going to do it from over here, and then we're going to come down across, and then maybe zip over. No, the director doesn't do that on the set. The director goes to his book that everybody should have, right? And they open it up and say, oh, this is what the first shot looks like. Okay, let's do it. Okay. Of several types of production illustration, the storyboard is the most useful tool the filmmaker has for visualizing his idea, and the one most directly related to his responsibility. Get that. Let me read it again. The storyboard is the most useful tool the filmmaker has for visualizing his idea, and the one most directly related to his response. It's his responsibility. He's supposed to give us the storyboards. How else do we know what's in his head? Is he going to tell us? That falls short, right? With the storyboard, it's right there. Boom. It's right there. This is a storyboard, what it looks like, right? It's his responsibility, the director. If you're a producer, if you're a production designer, and your director doesn't have storyboards, good luck. Good luck. I'm going to pause the video right now because it's Friday. I apologize, and it's garbage collection day, and they're about to come right back out past the side of my house. So I'm going to pause the video right now. I'll see you on the next one.